We'll make a few scene adjustments in this movie and talk about some of the considerations behind them. As I was building this, I was trying to think, well, what's a good way to integrate a little more of the environment? It can be sweetened with audio after the fact. While anime can import audio, in my opinion, it's a little bit clunky to go ahead and try to choreograph the audio to what's going on in the scene. It's easier to do that in dedicated video editing programs, but you could force it in here if you wanted. And I'm saying all that because we've got a TV that's kind of off screen. I've turned it off now, but if I turn it on, we can see this glow that we created. And remember, it's a flickering glow. So I've got some decisions to make to integrate our imported character into the scene a little bit. I've got two options to play with. One is to go ahead and adjust a layer effect for the color highlights like we'd done on the chair and do that to him. So we get this blue kind of light that separates him from the background and reinforces the fact that there's this blue television light. Or I could do the same effect and create a yellow light so we can see that it's really bright in the room. I've decided to go with the television route for this reason. Turning on the effect, and what effect I'm talking about, let me click on Vinny here, is that if we go to shadows, we can come down to layer shading. We use this trick to create this blue edge on the chair so that people can tell there's a blue light over here. If I do that with a yellow light, and we use the same little trick over here, as the eyes look right, or the character's left actually, what happens is that effect is going to obliterate one of the eyes, and I don't really want that to take place. So what I'm going to do instead is turn shading on, and what we'll do is point this over to the side where the light's going to be coming from. Let's change our color and pick a cyan somewhere in here in the TV range and choose OK. And we don't need it offset 16. I'm only going to offset it. I think we were using values of like 2. And I'll blur this just a value of about, let's try 3 and see how that looks right there. I'll choose apply. Now this is a render time effect, so we won't see it here. Let's do a quick preview render and see what that looks like. That's coming in nicely. We've got this haze, which is going to be our kind of flickering that shows up over the animation. And we can see this blue highlight that is helping separate a little bit more, but I might want to be a little more aggressive with that. So let me close this and say, let's go ahead and offset this by something more like 6. And I'll leave the blur at 3, choose apply. And you know what? I am doing that in the timeline instead of down at frame 0. Now this isn't an animated effect, so when I engage it, since I haven't engaged animated effects on the general setting, this is not going to make a difference, but this is one of those gotchas where it needs to be done back here at the beginning to be safe. Let me make sure that this has been applied. Come back to shadows. We'll do a quick preview render and see if that is going to work for us. There, so I get this nice kind of blue wash coming in here. That's exactly what I want to do. Let me go ahead and move this over here. Everything else in the scene is fine right now. We've darkened up the scene using some layer effects. I don't think we need to go back in and do any of those items. This is kind of the last integration between our character and what's going to be going on with the audio track later on, or potentially with the audio track. And then you can continue playing with the money.